Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, text number 6. Evam mana karma, okay, it's another tune. Evam mana karma, vasang prayunte.
Evam mana karma, vasang prayunte.
Avidyahatman, yapa yamane. Pritirnayavan mai vasudeve. Chite deha yogena tavat.
Namuchate deha yogena tavat.
Evam mana karma vasam prayunte.
Evam mana karma vasam prayunte.
Vidyayatman yapat yamane. Pritirnayavan mai vasudeve.
Pritirnayavan mai vasudeve.
Deha yogena tavat.
Namuchate deha yogena tavat.
Evam mana karma vasam prayunte.
Evam mana karma vasam prayunte.
Vidyayatman yapat yamane.
Avidyaatmani padiyamane.
Pritirnayavan mai vasudeve.
Pritirnayavan mai vasudeve.
Deha yogena tavat.
Namuchate deha yogena tavat. Evam mana karma vasam prayunte. Evam mana karma vasam prayunte. Avidyaya Avidyamani Pritirnayavan Mai Vasudeve Namuchyate Deha Yogena Tavat Evam Mana Karma Vasam Prayukte Avidyaya Tamani Upadhyamane Pritirnayapyam Mai Vasudeve Namuchyate Deha Yogena Tavat
Evam mana karma vasam prayunte
Avidyayatmani Upadhyamane
Tirnayavan mai vasudeve
Pritirnayavan Mai Vasudeve Namuchyate Deha Yogena Tavat
Evam,
Evam
thus,
thus,
mana,
Mana
the mind,
the mind
Karmavasam,
Karamvasam
subjugated by fruitive activities,
subjugated by fruit activities
Prayukte,
Prayukte
acts,
acts
Avidya,
Avidyaya
by ignorance,
Ignorance
Atmani,
Atmani
from the living entity,
living entity
Upadhyamane,
Upadhyamane
is covered,
discovered
Priti,
Priti
love,
Love
not,
Not
Yava,
Yava
as long as
Yes
Mai,
Mai
unto me,
Atmi
Vasudeva,
Vasudeva
Vasudeva,
Vasudeva
Krishna,
Krishna
na,
Na
not,
Not
Mujjate,
Muchere
is delivered,
is delivered
Deha Yogena,
Deha Yogena
through contact with the material body,
contact with the material body
Tavat, so long.
Sulam
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai.
Jai
When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, and his mind is subjugated to fruitive activity. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, who is none other than myself, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. Purport. When the mind is polluted by fruitive activity, the living entity wants to be elevated from one material position to another. Like there's one pastime, Prabhupada was in Tokyo, and he was he had a deal with them on his books. So they were trying to Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there with Prabhupada, and they were trying to work out a deal on the price of the books to be printed. So there was Dynapon was a big company at the time. I don't know if they still are, but they were a huge company, printing company. There was about maybe 10 businessmen, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Prabhupada, and they're trying to get a low price, and so Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he's the one that's kind of he's talking, he brings the price way down, and the businessman like, well, now Mr. Tamal Krishna, I mean that's a little bit low there, maybe we just rise it up some, and then you put it up a little bit. Well, I think we should go a little bit, and then Prabhupada, he was like the mediator. He said, well, I think he's got a good plan there. They're working together. So then 9 of them walked out to talk, and the one, I guess he was the secretary of one of the main secretaries. He was there. He was left there with Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, he asked this secretary, so what is your goal in life? So they had all the cards. The business cards were there. So his card was on the bottom and the others on the top. So he took the others off and he took his under and he slapped them on the top. In other words, he wanted to be the big boss. So when the Prabhupada says here, when the mind is polluted by fruit activity, the living entity wants to be elevated from one position to another. So this person, he wanted to be the boss, he wanted to be the top. So Prabhupada brought that out of. Interesting. Generally, everyone is involved in working hard day and night to improve his economic condition. Even when one understands the Vedic rituals, he becomes interested in promotion to the heavenly planets, not knowing that one's real interest lies in returning home, back to Godhead. By acting on the platform of fruitive activity, one wanders throughout the universe in different species and forms. Unless he comes in contact with a devotee of the Lord, a guru, he does not become attached to the service of Lord Vasudeva. But that's such a good point. Now, who's attached before Prabhupada came? Who was even thinking about engaging in pure service to God? Because no one even heard of such a thing. Like, generally the religions are, they got religion, but, just to be pious. But to actually surrender to God, give one's life, no desire other than to please God. No one even heard of such a thing. Unmotivated, uninterrupted service to God. I never heard of it before Prabhupada came. Knowledge of Vasudeva requires many births to understand, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Vasudeva Sravamiti Sa Mahatma Sajolava. After struggling for existence for many births, one may take shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva Krishna. When this happens, one actually becomes wise and surrenders unto him. That is the only way to stop the repetition of birth and death. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila 19:151. In the instructions given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Rupa Goswami in the Dasasvameda Gat, it is stated, Brahmanda Brahmate Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pad Bhakti Lata Bij. The living entity wanders throughout different planets in different forms and bodies. Hey, welcome. The living entity wanders throughout different planets in different forms and bodies. But if by chance he comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of the spiritual master, he receives Lord Krishna's shelter and his devotional life begins. So we'll repeat that one. The living entity wanders throughout the different planets in different forms and bodies. And if by chance he comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of the spiritual master, he receives the Lord's shelter and his devotional service or devotional life begins. Om Jnana Tamanandasya Jnanantana Skalakaya Chakshuravatamavena Sri Guru Kutavataram Mayate Yet Kripataraham Mande Shidurum Nirjana Vanchikapa Tubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Bhavane Vaishashri Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport here that the goal is to go back home. to go back to Godhead. In the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse, and in the purport of this verse, Makarma Krin, Mad Parama, Mad Bhakta Sanghavar, Nirvaira Sarvabhutesu, Yasamamiti Pandava. Prabhupada says this verse is the formula for going back to Godhead. You want to know the translation?
Yes.
Mad Karma Krin, whoever works for me. So many people are working. Billions of people in this world are working. But they're working to satisfy their senses, to get, roof over their head, to get food on the table, and no understanding of working for God. Some people, but very rarely. So people are working, but because they're working for the sense gratification, they're increasing their karma, negative reaction, because it's selfish. So the goal is to work for Krishna. And Krishna he's Kartam Isha. Kartam Isha means he's the boss. He's the big boss. There's many bosses. There's millions of bosses on this planet right now. Right? But they're not the big boss. Krishna's the big boss. Everybody has to answer to Krishna. And Krishna is such a good boss that he's not, just like he teaches that we should not be attached to the result. Krishna's not attached to the result. Yeah. But what he's looking at is the intention. What is our intention? And whatever it is we're doing, is it for Krishna? Or is it for me? Am I in the center of this, or is Krishna in the center? So we're trying to, previously it was all about us, we were in the center. Now we're trying to adjust that, put Krishna in the center and work for Krishna. And this will bring satisfaction to the soul. As long as we're selfish and we're working for ourselves, wasting valuable time. Time is very valuable. So Makarma Parama, who understands me to be the supreme. Krishna is the supreme. He says, Yomam Evam Samud Janati Pusa in 15th chapter, end of the chapter. He says, whoever knows me to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the knower of everything. And one may say, well, wait a second, he's the knower of everything, he knows everything. But to know everything means to know what is matter and what is spirit, and who the controller of both is. In that sense, he's saying he's the knower of everything. He knows what is matter, he knows what is spirit, he knows who the controller of both is, and he knows the best thing I could do is serve that person. He's the knower of everything. Because what is it? Everything is, there's matter and there's spirit. That's everything. So if we know what is matter, we know what is spirit, we know who the controller of both is, and we serve that person, good shape. Very good shape. And so many people, they claim to be the supreme. People think they're God. So many people. Literally millions of people think they're God on this planet. I was speaking to someone on book distribution, and he said he was God. I meet a lot of people like that, actually. Just to give you an idea, there's a lot. So I said, well, the position of God is a very big position. You have to understand what it means to be God. He creates universes by his desire. When was the last time you created it? Well, yeah, I can't remember doing that. He knows everything. How much do you know? Well, yeah, I don't know that much. I don't know everything. So he became a little humble, and he bought a Bhagavad Gita. So I told him, this book will explain to you the greatness of God and who God is. The people don't know. The people in such ignorance, they don't know who God is or how great he is. So Prabhupada kindly has come and let us know how great God is. And the best thing we could do is to surrender to him. So Mad Karma Krin, Mad Param, Mad Bhakta, and who engages in my devotional service. We have to serve somebody. There was a song like that, famous song, you got to serve somebody. Everybody is serving. You know, the mother is serving the children, the husband is serving the whole family, and people are serving the whale. It was a big thing, save the whale, because the whales were being killed. Save the cows is what they should do. There's so much service and so much seva to the dog. It's amazing. And then they kill the cow. It's like they're really sick consciousness. Man's best friend, the dog. You know, that's famous. Man's best friend. In American, believe it or not, in American society, so many people, millions, they have to have a dog. Otherwise, you're like not even an American. You gotta have a dog. I have a sister too. She had a dog. Somebody died. She got another dog. That dog died. She got another dog. That dog. She got another. You gotta have a dog. I asked her, why do you keep on getting dogs? Well, that's what we do. You know, we Americans, we have dogs. Now it's moving to India too. You see, now you go to India, you see people walking their dog. You know, are they so sophisticated? They do like Americans when they pass, they pick it up. They don't do. They haven't gone that far. That's a sophisticated American. They're walking the dog, and the dog does the poop, and he goes in, he picks it up, and you know, just carrying his poop with him. That's American culture. So better to serve God than to serve dog. Yeah. And they get so attached to their dogs. It's like Bharat Maharaj is such a great, he was on the level of Bob, you know. He became attached to a deer. Became a deer. So, and he didn't even have that deer that long, but people have their dogs for years and years and years. Sometimes they leave their inheritance to dogs. Millions of dollars they leave to their dog or cat. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. Millions. That's their best friend. And you think of it, see that the dogs, they don't argue with you. And they're always, as soon as they see you, like, their tails are wagging and they're so happy to see you and never argue with you. Just positive energy, you know? Always happy to see you. And when you're leaving, there's a lot of affection. Prabhupada said that dogs, actually, there was a class where he gave, there was 6 good qualities of a dog. And one of them was that they don't go into deep sleep. Like us, we go into deep sleep, some of us. But dogs, they're like, they don't go into deep sleep. They get up quick. They're not drowsy or no, they jump up. They're very loyal. Dogs are very loyal. And Prabhupada even gave an example of a man who had a dog, and this man had a little baby, maybe a 1-year-old baby. So he was going shopping, and you could masters, they can communicate with the dogs, and there's some way to communicate. So he said, "I'm going shopping. Watch the baby. Yeah, I'm going." So he came back, and he was shocked to see blood everywhere, and the dog had blood on his mouth. And the master's like, and he didn't hear the baby. Where's the baby? So you killed my baby. You ate my baby. So he got a gun to shoot it, and the dog didn't flinch. Just whatever, and he killed the dog. And then he heard the baby crying, and he's like, "How's that possible?" He went under the bed. The baby was under the bed, crying. And he's like, "Where's the blood come from?" He found a fox. The dog killed a fox to save the baby. He pushed the baby under the bed, killed the fox. And then his master came back. He didn't, and he killed it. And now he's lamenting, "Oh my God, I just killed my dog that saved my baby." But the dog was there. They're not stupid. So he didn't complain or anything. He just, all right, whatever, killed him. Very loyal. Dogs are very loyal. So we should be so loyal that whatever the spiritual master wants, that we do it. So the goal is to achieve this bhakti, love for Krishna. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhikamanoi Shravanari Sudha Chitte Puriya. That it's actually there. It's dormant. It just has to come out. Just like in wood, there's fire. But it just has to come out, so we light it. But sometimes wood gets waterlogged, so much water, but you can't light it then. But if the fire is under the wood long enough, even waterlogged wood can be lit. But the fire has to be under the waterlogged wood for a long time. Yeah, it burns away the moisture, and then eventually fire will come on. So some of us souls are kind of like waterlogged souls. So we have to. This chanting has to go on for a long time. Lord Kapila told his mother that one has to chant, one has to hear for a long time. One has to engage in devotion and hear for a long time in order to overcome these modes of nature. Because we've been in the material world a long time, too long. So now in this one lifetime, we're trying to become purified of all the lust, the greed. Tada rajas tamo bhava kamalo bhavyas cheta tirnara satam sate pasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of the modes of nature, passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and anger, they disappear. One becomes established in goodness. And this is just goodness. This is goodness. We're trying to also transcend goodness. So, but this is how to become free of lust, anger, greed. This lust is Krishna says to me, it's the ultimate enemy. Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajaguna, Samudra, Mahasthana, Mahapama, Vidyaya. It is lust only, Arjuna, born of the mode of passion, transformed into anger, and is the all-devouring sinful enemy of the world. Imagine, people are so attached, trying to satisfy their lust, but it's the all-devouring, sinful enemy of the world. It's our greatest enemy. But people are trying to satisfy their lust, but it's our enemy. It's not our friend. Krishna's our friend. So we want to become free of this. And this lust is a perverted reflection of our love for Krishna. There's love and there's lust. So lust is compared to iron, and love is compared to gold. They're both metals, but one is very valuable, and the other not very valuable at all. Some, but we want to get free of this and become qualified to go back home. But as long as we have this lust, it's not going to happen. Got to burn it away in the fire of devotional service. So, Mad Karmakrin, Mad Parama, Mad Bhakta Sangavarta, who was free of the desire to enjoy the fruits of one's activities and mental speculation. These are two big challenges. Prabhupada said, two things go very deep in the heart, difficult to remove. The desire to enjoy the fruits of one's activities and sex desire, lust again. These are two that go deep in the heart. So we want Krishna to go deep. He's already there, actually. We just got to remove the covering, remove this lust, remove this attachment to the results of our activities, which keep us bound. And mental speculation is another. We're trying to think of Krishna as he is, not filtered through our contaminated consciousness. We have this contaminated consciousness, and our understanding of Krishna is sometimes filtered through this contamination. So we're trying to get free of this contamination so we can see Krishna as he is. Just like Prabhupada, he gave us Bhagavad Gita as it is. And he gave us Krishna as he is. So much speculation about Krishna. But we're very fortunate because we got such nice guidance from a pure devotee who was very close to Krishna. So close to Krishna. Just like when he was coming across the Atlantic, he had the two heart attacks. And you can imagine what that must have been like. And he said, if another would have come, he said, I would not survive. So at one point, as he's going down in the boat, incarnations of Krishna were in another boat. He had a dream, and Krishna was in the head, and many incarnations, and they were encouraging him, come on, it's okay, everything will be okay. Imagine that. He had a dream, all these incarnations. Probably not all of them, but many incarnations of Krishna, and Krishna was in the head. Come on, it's okay, everything will be okay. Well, that'd be pretty encouraging, wouldn't it? What a dream. And of course, then Prabhupada had all success by the mercy of Krishna. He said he just wanted to be an instrument in the hands of Krishna. And what a good instrument. What a good instrument he was. So, Makarmakrin, Matparama, Madbhakta, Sangavat, Nirvaira, Sarvabhutesu. And who was a friend to all living entities. Such a person, he goes back to the spiritual world. So to be a friend to everyone, that's not easy. It's like there's one person who was famous for being a friend to everyone. Who was that? Yudhishthira. Ajatasattu. That he had no enemy. So if you have one person that's famous for being a friend to everyone. That doesn't say much for everybody else. He's also the only one that ever told a lie. Famous is never telling a lie. Very special. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to have a president like that? All the slaughterhouses would close. This would be a big change. One time a devotee was, Sridhananda Maharaj was giving class, and there was also the presidential election coming up, and one devotee asked him, so if the president of the United States became a devotee, how would he change? And Sridhananda Maharaj said, well, he would probably get up earlier. Got a good sense of humor. First of all, he would get up earlier. He would probably sleep pretty late. So this is the formula for going back to God. And therefore, Prabhupada said this verse that I just quoted, it's the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. That to work for Krishna, but karma, parama. Krishna is the supreme. But karma, no, but karma, but parama. Huh? Do you know the verse? Yeah. Krishna is the supreme. But karma, but parama, mad bhakti. And we have to engage in devotions. Mad bhakti. Yeah, it's amazing. Krishna, he gives, and something you know very well. Karma krin mad bhakta sanghavardita. No desire to enjoy the fruits of activities, no mental speculation, a friend to everyone. This is the formula if we want to go back to God. So it's very important. This knowledge is very valuable. And if we take advantage of it, if we hear attentively for a long time, then eventually it'll sink through our dull skull and we'll understand something. So, in this purport, Prabhupada mentions a very important verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Bhaya Bhaktilata Devi. That the living entities, they're wandering the higher planetary system to the lower planetary system, many different species of life. But if one becomes very fortunate, one comes in contact with a pure devotee, and from that pure devotee receives the bhakti lata beads, the seed of devotional service. And once one receives this seed of devotional service, one plants it and waters it. And how is it watered? With hearing and chanting. Again, lots of hearing and chanting. That's how this seed of devotional service grows. And as we all know, when a plant is growing, sometimes weeds also grow. So we have to pluck out those weeds. How do we pluck out the weeds? How do you think we pluck out the weeds?
Sadhana.
Huh?
From our sadhana?
Sadhana, yeah. As soon as we see a weed, just like I was mentioning when we chant japa, as soon as there's something else enters in the mind, right, stop, back up, and go it again. So that's kind of plucking the weed out. Stop. That stops the weed from growing. So we have to beat the mind with this hearing and chanting, nourishing. By this hearing and chanting, we're nourishing the intelligence so that we can pluck out these weeds when these weeds come up. No nonsense. And what do? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. This plucks out the weeds. We have to hear, just focus. If you ever see Atmikambhu here, Eke Hakun. Prabhupada said this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur This verse one, we have to be resolute in our determination, one-pointed, fixed. So this gave great inspiration to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and to Prabhupada. We have to be, and those who are not on this path, their intelligence is many-branched. So we have to be focused, no nonsense, just Krishna, 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 and more Krishna. And Krishna will reciprocate. The more we fill ourselves with Krishna, the more Krishna will help us get rid of these weeds and grow nicely. He wants us. Krishna wants us. Prabhupada said, more than we want to go back to God, Krishna wants us to go back to God. But we have to have that strong desire. It's like the non-devotees, they're so desirous to enjoy this world. We should be more desirous to leave this world. But at the same time, to give them Krishna consciousness so they know, life in this material world is. Prabhupada said this material world, it's like a bathroom. When you go to the bathroom, we do our business and get out, right? Nobody tries to make nice arrangements in the bathroom. Spend all day in the bathroom. Right? You go in there, you do your business, and you get out. So our business here, the goal of the human form of life, is to get purified, to develop our love for Krishna and get out of this bathroom. It's also compared to a prison and to a hospital and to a school. So it's a prison, but in prisons now they call them correctional facilities. Mm-hmm. So they go to prison, but the idea is to correct them. They learn some skill, and then when they get out of prison, they have some skill, and they can go to work. Otherwise, then they get out of prison, they just do their crimes again and end up in prison again. So Krishna's given us knowledge by which we can learn the skill of devotional service. That's how to get out of the prison. Otherwise, we got to come back again. And we don't want to do that. Prabhupada said the greatest fear of a devotee is to again enter into the animal species of life. That's the greatest fear of a devotee. So, and you never know. If we don't perfect this life, then we don't know what our future is. Of course, we'll get a human form of life, but who knows, after that, we don't know. We might go down. Yeah. So we have to be very diligent. So it's also compared to a hospital. Someone's disease, they go it's called, there's convalescent homes. Convalescent homes. Convalescent? Convalescent means they're in the hospital, but to get better. They've been treated, and now they're just there to recover. So this is also compared to a convalescent. We're trying to get better again. Now we know the disease, and we're being treated with all this sadhana. Now we're trying to get better again. But that also takes a lot of prayer. And so compared to a prison, it's compared to a school. This is the real school, not these, in the universities, they're teaching the education of attachment, right? You go to school and you get a skill for what? To make a lot of money and enjoy it, right? That's the idea. You go there and the idea is to get some skill and then you enjoy life. But we are teaching the education of detachment. They're teaching the education of attachment. We're teaching the education of detachment from matter, but also attachment to Krishna. You got to be attached to something. That's the nature of the soul. Like there's some people they teach meditation, And they teach that just clear your mind of everything. Yeah. You've probably heard this, but just trying to clear your mind. It's not possible because they're also thinking clear their mind. That's also a thought. You got to clear the mind, But that's also something. You can't get free of something, of desiring something. So we're trying to desire to please Krishna. Again, this will satisfy the soul. Trying to get clean again. Krishna's Vedyam Pavitram. He's the goal of the Vedas, and he is that who purifies. He's so pure. In any way we come in contact with Krishna, we get purified. And have you felt it? Some purification? Yeah. There's a practical result. The pudding is in the eating. Yeah? Then you taste. Like there was one devotee who was distributing books, and he approached one lady, and he explained the book to her, and she said, "Well, are you sure it works? Does this work? Are you getting something out of it?" He said, "Oh yeah, but there's not much I could tell you about it to convince you to keep it. But I can tell you it works. I'm getting a good result. But you have to try it yourself. You know, the what is it? The eating is the pudding is in the eating. How's it go? The taste of the pudding is in the eating. Yes, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I can tell you so much about it.
Proof of pudding is in eating.
The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Okay, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I can tell you so much about it, but until you eat it, you won't know. She said, "You don't know how important that an example is that you just get." I work at a cake factory, and people are always telling me, "Is it good? Is it, you know?" But you got to eat it. And so as soon as he gave that example, all right, I'll take the book. You know. So yes, of course we're practicing, so we're getting we're getting the taste, but there's much more. The more we surrender, the more the taste will come. And the more then we'll want to also share it with others. Okay, any question, comment, or reflection? Yes.
You mentioned, I have one reflection and question. So you mentioned that one has to hear a long time. So we were hearing, like in the car, they can hold them. So there were a couple of times it came up. It came up to one point. Guru Maharaj was mentioning that Sri Jiva Goswami says that one has to be so patient that, like, with the straw in the mouth, he should be able to empty the ocean. That much patience one has to have while chanting.
Wow.
So the Jiva Goswami says.
Wow, that's pretty patient. Huh? A lot of water in the ocean.
with the straw.
With a straw.
With the straw on it.
Okay. Jiva Goswami. Ki Jai.
Other point was like Valmiki, he chanted for 30,000 years. Ram.
Right.
And then he attained perfection. So that was also he didn't say that, like, he said one has to be that patient. He didn't say that it will take so much time, but he said one has to be that patient. I asked that question, was like, how come Valmiki had to chant 30,000 years? Can it take so much time? He said, it can. I don't know why I say it can. But it has to be that patient.
So we don't have much time here. We don't have that much time, so we gotta take this very seriously. Just focus.
Question I had was like, you mentioned that we will get human form of life in the next one.
Yeah.
But after that, we are not sure. We may expand on that level.
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, look at Bharat Maharaj. You know, he was on the level of Bob. I mean, anybody here on the level of Bob?
No.
Actually, Prabhupada said there was one devotee, one of his disciples. Anybody know? Yamuna. Prabhupada said she's on the level of Bob. Very advanced devotee. So he was very advanced. I mean, that's the next level was praying. But he became attached to it. He became a deer. There's the example. He didn't even get a human form in the next life. Then later he got it. So yeah, we don't know.
So how can we understand then that verse Trayate Mahatovayat where it says we'll get him from life?
Yeah. Prabhupada said, next life we get a human form, but we can degrade. It's not that we can't go lower. We can still you can do some offensing and go lower. Yeah, it's not that automatically we're just going to keep going higher. We don't know. We can go lower if we make big blunders. It's yeah.
So like our bhakti, they give a percentage, 1%, 2%, 3%. Can it go down 2%, 1% like that? Or no? It always remains 3%. Like, but we say that we hear that bhakti, we make progress, whatever we have earned.
Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
don't.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, if we do 5% in this life, the next life we'll go up. We'll start at 5%. Okay, yeah. Whatever we do in this life, we're going to pick that up in the next life. But if we commit offenses, then we can go down. So therefore, we chant these 10 offenses every day because we can. Yeah, we can go down. So we have to be very careful. Not offend devotees, not offend Krishna. Yeah.
Prabhu, you gave the example of the person who was who was thinking himself God, and you mentioned that God, we should know how great God is. You know, God creates universes, and He knows everything. So you better read, and you will get to know how great God is. So, and how can one just understand based on a book how great God is? A book like Bhagavad Gita is telling us that Krishna is saying that I am the supreme, all the material and spiritual worlds come from me. But still, that does not mean that I know. I just know the book, but I don't know. I just know the book says it.
Mhm.
So how can one say that one knows one knows God in reality?
Mm.
So yes, those people they don't know God. They say that I am God, but even those practitioners who read and believe in Bhagavad Gita, they also don't know God. They just know the book. The book says that this is what it is. So how
Yeah, some, you're right, some know the book, they're getting that knowledge and they know from the book. But people that are practicing, not only they know the knowledge in the book, but they get practical experience. Like Prabhupada was with some devotees, and he was on a morning walk. So he asked him, "So how do you know Krishna's God?" And the devotee said, "Well, Prabhupada, it says that it's in the Bhagavad Gita." He said, "That's a book." And the devotee said, "Well, because you say it's true, Prabhupada, you say Krishna's God." He said, "I could be cheating." He said, "I could be cheating. How do you know Krishna's God?" And one devotee said, "Prabhupada, when I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I know, I feel Krishna's God." Prabhupada said, "Yes." So you're practicing and you're hearing, then it's something that you know. And that's called an axiomatic truth. It doesn't need to be proved. It's self-evident. It doesn't have to be, you know that it's true. So Okay. So it's 8:30 now. Thank you very much.
Vijaya to be
Let's go.